Okay, in this video we are going to use the print module to create a contact sheet which consists of multiple images that will be displayed on one printed sheet. So here I have an existing print collection of one image, and this was created on the video entitled Creating a Print Collection. If you haven't seen that video, then please watch that video first in order to create a print collection. Once you've had your print collection created, and you can add more than just one image in that print collection simply by just clicking and dragging images into that existing collection like you normally would with a regular collection. So for example, I'm going to go back into the A03 collection, which has 9 images, and I can just click and drag images and bring them into that print collection. Now I've got a total of 3 images in that print collection. I can highlight more. I'm going to click on the first image here, hold the shift key, and I'm going to click on the last image. And if I want to drag all of this, make sure you click in the middle, in the center of the image and not on the border. So I'm going to click, when I click on one of these, it's going to drag all of the highlighted images. And if you see my icon, it's got the stacked tiles, and I'm going to drag it and put it into the print collection. So now I have all of my A3 images in that collection in this print collection. Okay, so but remember, we in the previous video, in the print module video, we set the margins up for this image. So if I go in there right now and select the Montana image, I click on it, we worked on this layout here on the previous video where we selected the paper size and we created margins and we adjusted the cell size. Now I'm going to reveal this film strip at the bottom of my screen. When I do that, I click on that triangle, it's going to reveal everything in that print collection, which is 9 images, as you saw me drag all those other images into this print collection. Now because we already created the layout for this collection, anything in this print collection can be used to be prepared for a print. So if I were to click on this image of the license plate, notice how it's still going to fit itself into what we created on the right side under the print module here. I click on this other one. Now it works nicely because all these images so far are landscape, they're horizontal. The moment I have a vertical image, it's this layout may not work. Okay, like for example, I have the square image here, and so this doesn't quite work out because I didn't put a top margin or bottom margin. Okay, so keep that in mind if you are going to create a print collection, and if you're gonna want to prepare these photographs for print, you might want to create one for vertical prints and one for horizontal prints. That way you will have all the margins consistent. Okay, so maybe I would use, if I wanted to prepare this for a print, maybe I would create a separate print collection just for this image and then adjust the margins accordingly. Okay, but what we're going to do here is we're going to create what's called a contact sheet, meaning we want to display all of these images that are on the bottom film strip here on one sheet of paper, and it would look like their thumbnails or tiles on this sheet. It's also known as a contact sheet. Okay, so how do we go about doing that? Well, let's just make sure that we have the right paper size. Always go check that page setup. On the previous video, we created this paper size. We had to go into the manage custom sizes, and we actually created this 8.5 by 11 US letter with no margins. And the reason why we did this is because the default US letter that that is in this paper size preset has margins in it, and we want to make sure we have complete control of the margins, so we had to create our own, right? So what I want to do though for this one is I want to make the paper not horizontal. I want to make it vertical for this particular for this context sheet. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit OK, and then now notice what happened to the paper. Now it has changed its orientation, and now it's vertical. So, but I want not just this image on there. I want all the images on this one sheet organized by rows and columns. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to select all of these photos at the bottom here that's going to be included in here. So there's a couple of ways to do that. We want to include everything that's in here onto this one sheet. I want to go ahead and click on selected photos here, and I'm going to say instead of selected photos, which means it's only going to put the selected image onto the sheet above, I want all photos in this film strip. Okay, I'm going to select that. So that means everything that's going to be that's in this film strip here, meaning everything in this print collection, will be applied to the image. Now the reason why you don't see all these images on the sheet just yet is because currently we're only allowing one row and one column. That's only going to allow us to have one image on here. We have a total of 9 images, so maybe we're going to have 3 rows here and then 3 columns. So what, in order to do that, what we do here is we go to the print grid, a page grid, I'm sorry. Under rows, we'll type in 3. And then on the columns, we type in another 3. So now we have this grid on this sheet here of all of these images. So that's, and the reason why we have, they were all placed on there is because we said select film all images in the film strip here. Had this not been selected, it's only going to pick the one that's selected, which is that one, right? And that's how that works, right? But if we want everything in this film strip, we want to say select all film strip photos. Okay, that's one. We're almost there now, but we need to maximize this space. Okay, we want to eventually send this file to a print lab so that we can get a print of this and use this contact sheet as a reference for color accuracy. Remember this for this particular assignment, this is where you are taking pictures of your surroundings that best represent the colors from this color checker passport. And we want to place those images, including a black and white image, and prepare it for print, create a file, and then send it to a print lab and receive a print. And we're going to judge that print lab's accuracy and other various labs and their accuracy by judging their print. So what we want to do is maximize this. So there's a lot of white space here, kind of unused space. So what we could do to help maximize it is we can go to the right side and we could say, well, let's say rotate to fit. Let's see what happens there. Well, that actually does start to maximize more of the paper just by clicking on rotate to fit. Right? All right, so now also what else can we do? If we look at the cell size here, this is the size of each individual cell. If I start to experiment with the height, you notice how some of these will change. If I start experimenting with the width, you can see that those changes happening. I can try and go in there and maximize all of that there and to see how far we can get with maximizing the paper. Okay. Notice that there's some margins here. Let's see what happens if I zero out the margins. Okay, so I don't think I want a bleed on this paper, so I'm going to probably put 0.25 at the top and 0.25 at the bottom, and I think that's fine. That's actually not too bad. There's another thing what you could do is what you could say is you can zoom to fill. Notice how there's still going to be white borders around these cells. Well, if you click on zoom to fill, now this is truly maximizing this paper. And you can actually make adjustments to each cell. Like this, for instance, I want to make sure I get this color so I can compare the accuracy from that lab when they print this mustard or gold color. Notice how my cursor becomes a hand. I can move this around and make adjustments so I can make sure I see this image. Now, these images are being cropped because of the zoom to fill. That's okay because we're just creating a contact sheet here, and we're trying to maximize the paper space so we could see a larger portion of the image in each cell, right? And I can move things around just so I can see the most important thing in those particular cells, right? I think I want a left and right border too, so maybe I'm going to go 0.25 on the left and right. That looks good to me here. So this is a good reference in terms of creating a good layout so to create this contact sheet. What I'd like to do though is I want to put this color checker passport and put it right in the center. So that way I can easily see the colors in the middle and then just kind of compare all the other colors around this color checker passport. So in order to get this image in the middle, you're going to have to shuffle this thumbnail in a different order in this film strip. So you just click on the color checker passport wherever it is for you and move it around until it is in the center, and there it is for me. Okay. Also, I don't necessarily need this entire color checker passport. I don't need this area. I just want this main color swatch here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on that. Notice I'm clicking on it. And the great thing about working in Lightroom is that you can just go take that image into the develop module. I'm going to click D and then work on it in here. And once you're done, and you can go back to the print module and it will update the image. So what I want to do is I want to crop it accordingly, and all I want to do is show this area. So you can do it a couple ways. So you could maintain the ratio and then move this around, right? And you hit done, but it's still showing this area. I don't need to show that area. How do I get to this particular area? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here again. Watch what I do here. I want to click on this aspect tool. I'm going to click on it, and then because it's locked, meaning it's still going to create the same ratio, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that area here, and now I have this, it's now making this crop like a vertical. It's changing the orientation as opposed to horizontal. And then I can now hit done. And that's the crop that I want. Let me do that again. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to reset. I'm going to click on the aspect tool. And because it's still locked, I'm going to maintain that ratio, the original ratio, but I'm going to click and drag the shape I want, let go, and then there's where I want it to be. I'm going to hit done. If I wanted to straighten it out, I'm going to go back into the crop tool. I'm going to drag one, I'm going to pull one of these corners, and I'm going to just rotate it if I want to straighten it out. Then I hit done. Go back in there to straighten that out again. Okay. Now, if I go back to the print module, look at my color checker passport. Maybe I want to get rid of this gap. All I want to see are the colors. So I'm going to go back in here, click on that thumbnail, click develop. I'm going to go in there. Now I'm going to just kind of get in even tighter here. So all I see are the colors. And then I'm going to hit done, go back to the print module, and there. So now I have the color checker passport in the center, and then I can now compare these colors that I've captured. Hopefully they represented, like this orange right here is on that license plate, some of these blues are on the sky, some of this cyan is somewhere around here, etc. And what we're doing really is when we send this to the print lab, when we get the print, we're going to see, when we look at it visually with our eyes, do these colors kind of match somewhere within this color checker passport, and the accuracy in terms of brightness and saturation also as well. Okay, so this is now ready to go, and in the next video we're going to go over how we actually export this as a print file so we can now send it to a print lab. Now that we have all the margins laid out and all the tiles adjusted accordingly to their orientation and maximizing it on this one sheet of paper.